Making a million gold is a milestone that can be quite hard to hit for a lot of Elder Scrolls Online's players. So today I'm going to show you a few ways to help you speed up that process to reaching a million gold or potentially millions of gold. Before we hop into the ways of making all this gold, I would like to say don't forget to like and subscribe. My last video had quite a lot of views, didn't get a lot of likes and subs. Would really appreciate if you guys liked and subbed. And don't forget to stick around to the end of the video to figure out how you can win a million gold in ESO, because I'm doing a giveaway. So stick around and let's hop right into it. One of the most consistent ways to make decent gold is through farming. Now there are many different types of farming, all of which we will go over. The first being harvesting. Harvesting is a good way to make decent gold consistently. People will always be in need of ingredients, whether it's for potions, food, or gold materials. It will always be something that is desired. The question is what to farm. So here's a few things that you can farm to maybe help you come to a conclusion. Fishing. Fishing can make you decent gold with good RNG. Every fish you skin has a small chance of dropping perfect roe, which is worth around 90k each. Not bad. This is an advisable farm, I would say, because it is very RNG, and it either cannot pay off at all, or it can pay off pretty big, but it really depends. So this is a really risky farm. It depends on how fast you can catch fish, it depends on some champion points that you have that you can put into fishing. And realistically, I mean, I've caught 300 fish and only gotten one roe one time. It's very risky, and I'm not really sure that that should be the farm that you go for, but it is a farm that you can do. Refining materials. Certain materials like ancestor silk, jute, iron ore, platinum dust, and many others can also be worth farming. Not only because they themselves are very valuable, because some of them are, some of them aren't, but you have a chance of getting gold crafting items such as drill wax or chromium dust and potentially tempering alloy when you refine them, and those all sell for a decent amount. This isn't a bad farm, and it is partially RNG, but the RNG is a lot more forgiving. So I wouldn't say this isn't viable. It does pay. The RNG seems pretty solid, so I do definitely think that that is a good farm. Alchemy ingredients. This is probably the safest way to farm gold. No risk involved with RNG. The gold received for alchemy ingredients is very consistent. Most alchemy ingredients sell fairly well. Some sell for a lot more than others, and some sell a lot faster than others, such as columbine. This is one of the ingredients that is very sought after. It goes for 3.3k each. And with the champion points that you can get when it comes to farming, there's one of the champion points allows you to get double harvest, which would let you get 2 columbine per plant that you harvest, which would make you about 6.6k per plant that you're harvesting. That's quite a bit, and very consistent. Other honorable mentions to farm is Scrib Jelly, which isn't a very hard thing to farm. For that you could head over to Talon's Crag and Deshawn and kill away. All the Scribs have a chance to drop Scrib Jelly, worth 1.4k each. I have done this. I have farmed 600 Scrib Jelly. I've sold about 400 of it, hold on to 200 because I use it to make food, and it's also used to make very good potions. So don't sleep on those ingredients. Don't sleep on any ingredients. All the ingredients are worth a decent amount of gold, and if you farm enough, you'll make some money. So alchemy ingredients, one of the most profitable, consistent, and safe ways to farm. On top of that, when you're harvesting those ingredients, there's a chance that an ethereal dust will drop, which is worth 1 million gold on its own, which I've also had happen, which is very nice. So definitely my most recommended way to farm is alchemy ingredients. PvE farms. For PvE farms, it's pretty short and simple here. Style pages and motifs. Everybody in ESO wants to look their best and will pay a very big chunk of change to do so. Certain dungeons drop motifs that are pretty valuable. An example, like the Crimson Oath chest motif from Dreadseller, which sells for a huge 2.2 million gold. Most DLC dungeons all drop motifs that are extremely sought after and can be very RNG and not so consistent to try and make gold. But if you're lucky and you get the motifs, they will pay off. They can definitely be one of the best things to farm if your RNG is there. But not only that, I also mentioned style pages from dungeons. These sell for significant amounts. Occasionally, a farm will come up every now and then on ESO for a certain style page. One of the most recent we saw was the Euphotic Gatekeeper style page, which I did personally farm and got two of, and that made me 8.6 million gold. Style page farms are very profitable, but they're not always there. They come around every once in a while. You have to keep an eye out, but when they do come out, some of them pay a lot, and definitely you need to farm those. So when they do come out, I'd recommend farming your butts off because not many things pay out as much as the style pages for Monster Helms. So especially the ones from DLC dungeons. I mean, if you go and look at the Baron Zadra style motif on Tamriel Trader right now, it's going for like 40 million, 50 million because they're that sought after. So keep that in mind. PvP farming. Now, PvP farming isn't something that everyone's going to want to do, and I understand. PvP can be a sweaty and not so fun experience, but you don't really need to be good at PvP to farm. Let me explain. Telvar stones are one of the best ways to make gold. They are obtained in the Imperial City, which can sometimes not be so fun to farm because there's a lot of sweaty tryhard players. But don't let that stop you, because you can actually get Telvar quite easily. All you have to do is try and join a big group that farms the bosses in the Imperial City, which isn't very hard. You can usually just join by asking in chat. And these groups get very big. Sometimes, you know, up to 8 to 24 people. And usually people won't really bother you when you're in that big of a group. Now there is an off chance that a bomber might swing in and ruin the fun, but in my experience that is very rare, and this ends up being very profitable. Within 3 or 4 days, I got up to 500k Telvar doing this, which I used to buy 50 Haikaijo, which is worth about 95k each, but I sold it for around I think 89k each and got a 4.5 million gold payout from that, which was very nice. I personally recommend running Oaken builds if you aren't a fan of PvP. I think this will give you the best chance to do damage against the monster and also help survive if you do encounter players. Telvar farming, you don't want to underestimate it because it really will pay off. Not only that, if you don't want to buy High Kaijo, you could also buy set boxes, which drop a random piece of a set. One of the most notable ones being Powerful Assault, which I have also done, and I actually did pull the Ice Staff worth 4.5 million. Obviously, that is very RNG, so do that at your own risk, but that is another way you can use your Telvar to make quite a bit of gold. Now, speaking of the Imperial City, we obviously can't forget our good friend and totally not evil and twisted Molag Bal. He can be very profitable to farm alone, because not only does him and his three mini bosses that spawn out the portals drop Telvar just like the above world bosses, but he also drops the Soul Shriven Skin style page, which is well worth over 3 million gold. On top of that, he himself can also drop Haikaijo. So I remember there was one time I got 3 Haikaijo in a row farming Molag Bal. So 300k right there. And then on top of that, I actually got the Soul Shriven skin back to back in that same day after getting that Haikaijo. Now, sadly, I was farming it to have the skin for myself, and I was farming it with my girlfriend, so I gave her the other skin, which hurts because didn't get the gold, but this is a very good way to farm Telvar and potentially get more than that. Now, this is very RNG. I knew a guy who I farmed it with who was farming for a week and didn't get the skin once. I got it back to back on my third day. So, and when I say day, I was farming like maybe 4 hours a day. So really it took me 12 hours to get 2 Soul Shriven skins. So keep that in mind. The next way is Alliance Points. Now, Alliance Points are easily earned through Battlegrounds and can also be earned in Cyrodiil. Now, this is definitely going to be a lot more PvP oriented, so if you really don't like PvP and you're really not good at it, I wouldn't recommend this farm at all, especially because, honestly, compared to the other farms, this one isn't going to pay as well. But it is an honorable mention. One of the best ways to make your money through alliance points is the weekly golden vendor. Now, every week a golden vendor will show up in Cyrodiil selling gold items, gold rings, gold jewelry, things like that. Now, not every gold item that he sells or she sells can be bought and sold, because some of them will be bind on buying, but there are a few that you can buy and you can sell. Now, this can be risky because if you don't have knowledge about these items in the game, you might buy them and it might say they're worth a lot, but they might not actually be very desired, which I have been in that situation. But I have been in a situation where I have bought from this golden vendor and sold items and made millions of gold. So this is a very risky one, and I don't recommend it for new players. I think if you're an experienced player who knows the market pretty well, I think this is definitely a good route to go down occasionally when you have the spare alliance points, but I wouldn't dedicate all my time into farming alliance points for the golden vendor, unless they are selling something that you want to buy, of course. Now, what you could also do with alliance points, which is, in my opinion, a bit better than the golden vendor, is buying the set boxes, just like you could with Telvar. You could buy set boxes with alliance points. One of them being Deadly Strike. Now, I was buying Deadly Strike ones because I was filling out the set for a character. But the Deadly Strike dagger is worth well over a million gold. And if you pull that, I mean, that's big money, and they're not too expensive when it comes to alliance points. I think they're around like 10,000 each, roughly. So every 100,000 alliance points could get you 10 boxes. That's 10 chances at a million gold. Um, so if you like to gamble, I guess this is the best way for you. Just don't get addicted. Nobody wants that. Personally, all of anything to do with alliance points is way too RNG and way too high risk, so I don't think it's the best way to farm, and I wouldn't farm it if you're new. Now, reselling. Reselling is a very hard way to make gold, but it can be very profitable. But this definitely requires a decent amount of knowledge on what to buy and what it's worth. Um, I definitely wouldn't recommend this for beginners, and even would caution it to experienced players because it can be very risky. Now, I have resold some things. Um, I have bought a House of Hexos Divine's gloves one time for 5k and sold it well over 100k. So you can make money doing this. But reselling is just risky. And in case you don't know what reselling is, it's where you buy something from a guild trader from somebody who didn't maybe know the price or didn't really care and just wanted to sell it quick. And, let's say they were selling these House of Hexos Divine gloves for 5k, like I bought, but they're actually worth well over 100k. So obviously that was a very desired thing. So I bought it. I upgraded it from blue to, I think, purple and sold it like that. Now, it does work, and it's not a bad way of making gold, but it is very hard to do, very risky, and very competitive because a lot of people are into this reselling game for some reason. Um, so I definitely wouldn't commit to it because it's so competitive. I mean, there have been times where I've tried to buy something I genuinely needed, and it was only up for 1 minute on the listing on Tamriel Trade Center, and somebody still beat me to it, and I was like right next to it. Like it can be rough. So do keep in mind how competitive that is. I wouldn't go out of your way to try and resell things. I would say if you're like trying to buy something on Tamriel Trade Center or just looking around, you see like, oh wait, that's being sold way less than what it's worth. Maybe go and try and buy it. But committing to reselling is very difficult, so keep that in mind. So, anyways, those are a few ways you can use to finally hit that million gold threshold. I hope this was informative, and again, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you'd like to get a chance at winning a million gold on PCNA, which is where I play, I'm going to give away a million gold to anyone who likes and subscribes and also comments their favorite part of the video. That's all you have to do. You'll be entered. I will announce the winner a few weeks after this video drops. If you win, I will comment on your comment to ask you for your in-game info so I can either mail it to you or add you and trade it to you, whichever you prefer. If you don't respond to my comment, you won't win, so do keep an eye out. you know, make sure to come back to the video, I guess, and check it out, or keep an eye on your notifications, whatever is easier for you. But either way, that's all I have to say, and thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day. Peace.